Good morning. Hello. This is 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and yes, this is one street over. We're going to be joined by Dr. Danny Weeks here in just a moment as he makes his way in to give us a report on the school board meeting last night. Oh, here he is. And you know what? I forgot to slide those microphones over. I just got word that my grandbaby girl is on the way, so I'm kind of distracted. So I'm going to get you on that other microphone, Dr. Weeks. Sure. But so I came popping in here, and just my mind's in 1,000 other places. So forgive me. My next grandchild's on the way. Her name is Grace, and so she'll probably be born sometime today.
Oh,
so yeah, yes, we're so excited. We're so excited. So we're trying to get all of our ducks in a row and all those things, but hoping she holds off until after the school day. You know how that goes. For our kids don't want us there right now, so it's like how they are, and I get that they need their time to themselves. It's if anybody remembers when my twins were born, it was in the middle of my radio days, and I promise you, Les Jamison called me 30 minutes before my first child arrived, and I was live on the radio 30 minutes before Caleb was born, and it was crazy town. It was like a circus. It was a 3-ring circus. So there's something to be said for having that time to yourself. It was crazy town, but as radio, man, you just like they went to remotes with me. They had little satin jackets with 106 FM on them. Oh yeah, we had a ball. Once the third and fourth one got there, I'm like, I'm not doing remotes anymore. I'm too busy. I got babies to take care of. Anyway, Dr. Danny Weeks is here. I will keep y'all posted on baby Grace's arrival and all the particulars, just soliciting your prayers for a perfect delivery. And for strength from my strong daughter-in-law, Christina, and just perfection for little baby Grace. I just love the name. I'm just like, oh.
Nice.
Anyway, it's so sweet. But anyway, how did the meeting go last night?
Well, it was a very short meeting.
Okay.
Had a great night, and it was coming out of the. It seems like we just had a meeting and just took care of a lot of business and things. So last night was pretty standard, and a lot of reports to review and things like that. And so I hate to say nothing exciting, but usually that's a good thing when there's nothing exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I know our next couple of meetings, we will have a lot of recognitions for students, and our upcoming April meeting, we'll have retirements and all the end of the year type stuff, and start talking about the successes that students have had toward the end of the year. So it is.
We're thinking end of the year.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're not at all.
When you said that, I was like, we're there. It's
exactly
unbelievable. Oh.
And just so that we're in that habit, and I hate to say habit, but we annually schedule an agenda. So in April, we schedule all middle school students who have won some type of award outside of their school. The principals are made aware of those, and they bring them down. And so we recognize students that have won, could be a county award, could be a regional award, statewide, or even, across the nation. Students are doing that. So we do that in April for our middle school students. And then in May, we do that for our high school students. And so that's an exciting time. You mentioned retirement. And when we get to the personnel actions last night, we'll see some of those have already started coming in. And that's, it's both a sad time and an exciting time. And as I look at those names, I think about people that I taught with several years ago. And some of them have announced their retirements, and let that be known. And that lets our HR department know to start working on filling those vacancies and post some of those jobs. So if people want to transfer from one school to another, they have those opportunities. But, there are a lot of things that are going on, and a lot of work behind the scenes, and just things that are happening. So we're really excited to be able to go through that last night. We had a group from East Robertson Elementary School come and lead the pledge for us, and they were they call themselves the Boys Club. And so these guys apparently are responsible for making sure the flag is raised appropriately every day. And the principal was telling us about how meticulous they were at checking the weather to make sure that the flags didn't hang out in inclement weather, and They knew exactly how to fold it, and I think the ROTC students had helped them learn some of those tactics about folding the flag and making sure it's well taken care of. So to have them with us last night was a good time. We had some good guys there, and Dr. Hebard asked each of them a question about what they liked about, or what their best advice to a student going from elementary school to middle school was. And some of it was so serious, and
I
some
can
of it just made us
imagine.
laugh, and it was really
Yeah.
funny. It was everything from don't say anything to anybody unless you're able to back it up, which made us laugh. And then there were some that said, it's just
That's great.
get involved. The advice
Yeah.
of a child: get involved in something and find something you love
Yeah.
to do. I mean, so lots of deep thinking out of that group last night. So it was good to have them with us, and their principal came with them. They had a good time.
Yeah, you just gave me a great idea for our seniors to give advice for, they do that a
Incoming
lot of
freshmen,
times in the
yeah.
annuals. They'll give advice, but I think we need to do that on our news segments and stuff. We have Ask a Bobcat, so that
Right.
might be a special senior Ask a Bobcat. So I'm going to write that down, because if I don't, I'll forget it. But I think that's a great idea for
Yeah.
our seniors to give advice.
That is.
Or maybe even the freshmen for the incoming middle schoolers,
Right.
to say. So I love that. I love that, because we're always looking for new things. I mean, of course, this week it was what's your spring break plans, but all of those things. But I think we're going to put that one down.
And it is that
That
time.
is a great one. Yeah.
It's that time that I know I've seen a lot of schools announcing their registrations, and some of the things that got postponed due to the weather. I've noticed, some open houses in some of our high schools as the incoming freshman class are visiting and checking around.
Yeah,
to
we've
see
already
what
done
classes.
that.
Yeah, so those are exciting things to happen. But it would be interesting to see what advice that those students would give those others. That's fun. One part of our agenda that we always we love to see student travel, and as we've talked about many times, there's all kinds of student travel, from our career and technical student organizations all the way up to athletic competitions, and just group travel for rewards and things like that. So last night there were about a dozen trips that were approved from those groups that they have to send a checklist in, send an agenda in of what the trip plans are, making sure they have the right chaperones, talking to us about how much it's going to cost, and basically lay out that it's a well-planned trip. There's plenty of things for students to do. So special permissions are always on the agenda, and our staff know that anytime that our students travel either out of state or overnight, they must submit a field trip request. So that's not just the average daily field trip, that maybe you might take to Nashville or
Right,
something
right.
for a day
We
or
just
something
did
like
one
that.
we just did one last week. So,
But those that are overnight and go out of state, we do look at those and make sure that they're well planned and well thought out, and we have enough chaperones for those trips, especially if they're overnight trips and things of that nature. So that happens. We always receive a monthly financial report, and we'll talk about that. We're excited to see sales tax coming in more positively than we had projected originally. It was kind of slow coming in the fall, so I don't know if, and it usually comes in a couple of months behind. It takes some time by the time it's collected at the cash register, by the time it's collected, sent to Nashville, and sent back to the county to redistribute. But our revenues are looking really good right now. Property taxes are being paid, so we're about 60% of the way through our budget in terms of revenues, and we're maintaining expenses less than that. And that's something that we always want to be good stewards of the finances that the county has. I was driving in this morning, and one of the board members made that comment last night. I was driving in, and I think I'd seen gas go up about 30 cents overnight. And so that's certainly a concern for us as we look at the
Right.
rest of the year for,
buses and
diesel
things like that.
all of those things that are fuel related. And hopefully we'll get some relief on that soon. I didn't get a chance to watch national news last night, but I heard there was some movement in the oil and gas world. So maybe so, but 30 cents per gallon I think
Big time. Now, did you see an increase from yesterday?
from last night, yes.
So it's like over $3 now.
It was 3.29, I believe, at most places I saw.
Ooh.
And it's bad enough.
Yeah,
for
last time I saw it was $2.99.
Yeah.
So I haven't gassed up in a couple of days.
Bad enough for own personal vehicles.
Yeah, for sure.
But most of our buses on a good day will get anywhere between 7 or 8 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
And so, they're
just checking prices now. You got me curious. I was just kind of looking to see what some of the ones are. And, if these things, guys, you got to buy local.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, the gas, the taxes don't come in here.
Right. They go somewhere else. So it's
exactly.
it's interesting to manage the budget in ways, there are things that we can control, we can easily do that, but fuel, electricity, gas, things like that, where we can't control really where we run our buses, and we want our students to travel. So during field trips and things like that, they have to do those things and need to do those things.
And it gets expensive.
And it is, and certainly this week it's gone a lot more expensive.
I miss $1.80 gas prices. I don't know about you, but it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago. But truly. So I'm like, Arr. So anyway, but we are a country at war right now.
Exactly.
So that's just practical. I mean, that's just what's going on.
It is. And so maybe some of those conflicts will be over, and we can get back to some normalcy there. And we used to plan. I think most people know we're running buses during summer school as well now. So we don't necessarily provide door-to-door delivery at all places and all grade levels, but we look at where pockets of people are, and we don't go to every school. We don't necessarily have a summer school in every school throughout the summer. But even, when people see buses running in the summer, again, we're, 6 to 8 miles per gallon, starting and stopping very, at regular paces and stuff. So that becomes difficult to manage some of those budgets. And so,
have you already started talking about where the summer schools will be and those kinds of things? Because I know that varies, because when I first started teaching, pretty much everybody was doing a summer school, but then it consolidated. So when do y'all make those decisions?
They're actually making some of those plans right now.
Okay. I'm just curious.
I hate to say decisions, because a lot of that, our summer school budget is funded through state funding rather than local funding. And so that's behind the state budget, which the legislature is, that's usually one of the last items they take care of. And and particularly the funding for transportation, the state's pretty much given us an idea that we'll give you the same funding for staffing and materials for summer school. But the transportation piece is always that last holdup on there.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we know that a lot of our students just don't come to summer school if they have to provide their own transportation.
Yeah.
And parents working, have a hard time getting there, and maybe if it's not their zone school. So I think sometimes here in the city of Springfield, maybe we'll only have it at one elementary school, maybe 2 elementary schools. And so if that's not in a normal route of, that a parent would follow every day, sometimes we just know that they're not going to make it to school. And so that funding is held up. So I think the last I heard, the legislature was expected to be finished maybe around the first week of April or so.
Yeah.
And so hopefully by then we'll know exactly what we're going to do. I know they have started taking some registrations for summer school from some students that are maybe required to attend. And then we'll open it up to those students who might optionally want to attend. But I would say those numbers will be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, and you talk about the transportation. When we do bus duty, I'm always stunned at how many kids, even in high school, ride the bus.
Yes.
And I mean, there's just a lot of kids that you think. Some seniors I saw getting on the bus yesterday, and I thought, man, I thought they'd be driving, and it's just not feasible. And it may just be some of these kids just haven't taken the test yet. And it's a different generation. They're not as excited to get behind the wheel as we were. I mean, I was driving when I was 10.
Yeah.
Give me a truck, something. I mean,
did you go take your driver's test the day you turned 16?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Right after? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The minute I could, I was there. So, my parents were actually out of town my first day, and a cousin took me. And so it was funny because I'm like, well, I've got to get there. So, but anyway, so it is that transportation aspect of it. People just don't have any idea how vital it is that we, need those buses and we need drivers.
And I was going to say, what an opportunity to be able to say, I think Mr. Hardaway said at a meeting a couple of weeks ago that, we could use 10 to 12 drivers today. That's how
absolutely
that we need those folks to do that, and it takes a special person to drive a bus. But the licensing part we can help take care of. We train drivers to do that, and we're going to have some special, I'm going to say, accelerated classes maybe early summer so that we can do that. We're going to focus on our own staff. If we have staff members that want to drive and do that early. It's a good time to make some extra money, when you feel good and when you're already in school mode and up and getting ready, sometimes driving another hour or so, in the mornings or afternoons, or particularly field trips, to teach throughout the day, and then, hang around a couple hours and get ready to carry a ball team to, across the county or somewhere locally, and, make that trip.
Mark does it. And when we tell people the hours that Mark's putting in, he's like, it's really no big deal because I'm just driving. And because he worked with the buses, he was the security safety coordinator before he started teaching. Right. He's like, I just feel like I need to help because he knew how shorthanded they were. And so his day does start early and end late, but he's able to pick up a middle school route, drop them, pick up the high schoolers, take them to school, teaches. And then his last block is a planning block so he can go get the middle schoolers, take them back, get the high schoolers, drop them home, and then he's home. Right. I've even thought about picking up an afternoon route. I'd have to give up radio to do mornings, and I don't want to do that. Right. But I'm toying with the idea of picking up an afternoon route just to help because we have so many missing buses in the afternoon, and I drove when my kids were in school, and so I'm like, I feel like I could probably take some kids home, even if it's just, I don't know how we would logistically do it with the buses, but I thought I'm considering it. I better not, I just said it publicly. I'll probably be getting a phone call, but yeah, we need bus drivers, guys. And it's a fun job. I enjoy driving a bus.
Right.
When you get behind the wheel of it, you're like, oh, this isn't hard. You just use your mirrors and all those things. And I love to tell, when we were trying to license a driver one time, I had to take her to the testing center in Nashville. Yes. And we got up in a corner, and I had to back that bus out like, and I was so pleased with myself. I wish we had it on film because it was maneuvering at its best. But it's really, once you get the feel for it, it's just not that hard, and it's a lot of fun. And you have such a special relationship with the kiddos.
You do, and you really do. You mentioned maneuvering a bus around. Sure, that's some of our more difficult routes are some of the city Springfield routes where you do have to manipulate, lots of turns in there. But, a nice route out through the country, beautiful morning like this today, you get up and see the sunset and sunrise and get to drive through the country. And, once you learn where your route is,
that's key.
And that's important to us to try to get people who will do it consistently because the difficulty comes in not knowing where your route might be and which road do I turn on, where are students located, where do I pick those up. But these people that have a solid route, they learn that, and they learn that early, and where students are out and waiting on you to come by and pick them up.
So I encourage you, I have a lot of retired friends out there. You could be driving a bus. You really could. You'd be a great help. You make a little extra money too, and really more than a little. I know. I just can't believe more teachers aren't doing it. I'm stunned. Right. There's only a couple. Yeah. I think my husband and then Mr. Rushing. Do you know of any others? I just know the Rushings. They're friends, and that's why I know he's doing it. But yeah, there's not a lot, and I'm really stunned because I'm especially with gas prices, y'all. You can drive the bus instead of your car.
Right.
So that's a big old plus right there. So drive a bus. Do you want to jump ahead and talk about
I was going to say we went from
job fair since we're on that? Because we've got a job fair coming up at the end of the month, don't we?
Job fair is coming up.
This would be a good. We don't want to forget your place, but this is a good transition to say job fair
coming up on the 31st,
right?
And so it's in the afternoon. I believe the hours are 2 to 5, 2 to 6, somewhere in there. But
Something like that.
come by central office. No appointments needed. You can come by, and the room's broken up into elementary and middle high schools. And so if a person has a desire to, to jump into an elementary school position, you can head to the elementary room, middle high. Or if you don't know, you can go talk to principals in both areas. We'll also have some folks there that help teachers or help people get a license to be a teacher as well.
Yep.
And so if you have an unofficial copy of a transcript, bring that in. Let those folks take a look at it. They can tell you, even if you don't have, a degree in your subject area that you're liking, it's easier for folks to do that. If you have a degree in something and you want to teach that, it's pretty easy transition. The farther away you get from what your degree's in, the harder it becomes to do that. So somebody with a college English degree wanting to teach second grade, sometimes that's a stretch and requires a little more training and things than, if that person wanted to go teach high school English, But that job fair is that day. Every one of our principals will be there. The vacancies that we already know about, they'll have the green light to start, approving contracts and things like that. So it could be a job on the spot. And again, we've talked many times that, somebody who, you have to have that 4-year degree that's the basis for being able to teach. But just because someone did not go into the field of education in college and get a degree in an academic subject or in education per se, come down if you have an interest, and they can work with you. They can help you, and it's a relatively easy process. I don't want that to sound like teaching is an easy job, because it's a fun job. It's a rewarding job. It is challenging, but it's important, and there's that balance of knowing your content area and then knowing how to deal with students and the things that go along with that. So putting those two pieces together. We work an awful lot with Austin Peay. We work with some other local colleges and universities to help people get those degrees. And again, it's just a great opportunity. Even if somebody's not sure that's what they want to do, they can come by and stop by and talk to us about that. But it's also not just the teaching positions. We have so many jobs that will be open next year in the school system. And, we mentioned transportation. Our transportation department will be there. They may want to work in their cafeterias. That's
we're going to have an opening there.
Yes, we have full and part-time positions in a lot of areas. Teacher assistants, where they can come in and work with small groups of kids for full or parts of the day. And so there's so many things, and even people with secretarial skills. There are job openings in offices and bookkeeping positions, and so lots of things there that are open. While we're talking about personnel, there were 8 retirements announced last night, and we would give a shout out to them. First of all, I know this one touches you personally, Mr. Mark Gregory. He is our CTE supervisor, our career and technical education supervisor, and he's been in that role. And he has announced his retirement at the end of the year. And so Mr. Gregory's position will be posted shortly, and we'll start looking for a supervisor to manage those programs. We also had Miss Jennifer Gordon at Coopertown Middle, Miss Marcia Hogan, Cheatham Park, Miss Allison Holman at Westside, Sheila Leach at East High, Nicole McDonald at Heritage Elementary, Donna Sabatini from Cheatham Park, and Victor White at the IA. And, a lot of these folks I remember starting to teach with and working with them throughout their careers. And then some of them are new, but we're excited that they've made that decision. We always ask them twice, are you sure this is what you want to do? Or do you want to come back and sub a little bit? Or do you want to work? We have leaves of absence all the time. And so if someone, again, has some interest in, maybe they don't want to teach full time, maybe they want to teach a semester, we can work with them on that. And so we can be very flexible in that. So again, I would encourage them to come to the job fair on the 31st. There are some jobs already posted on our websites. And so if people know what those are and are curious about those, they can check out our website to see what those positions are. And then, even if they're not, just come on in on the 31st if you have an interest. And it is a rewarding career. It's especially for somebody that, I think 51,400, I believe is our starting salary now. And a lot of good benefits for that. So, our health insurance package is a very attractive package to a lot of
Oh, yeah.
folks and things like that. And, the calendar is an advantage for a lot of people as well. And, it's a set calendar. You know when you're working, you know what your days are. And particularly folks that have families at home and want to stay with their families and want to be on the same schedule as their kids or something, it's a great opportunity to do that.
For sure. And I tell my story all the time about going to a job fair. I had been, saying for years I was interested in teaching. I started out as a teaching major, had a 4-year degree, and didn't really know what to do. But Dr. Causey at the time was always, are you sure you want to do this? And encouraging me to do it. And so I went to the job fair with the intention of being an ELL teacher. Was ready to go back to school to be ELL because I had fallen in love with the newcomers community through church. I'd done ESL, English Second Language, and I thought I can do this. And talked to Mr. Staggs at Springfield because that starts at 8:30. I'm like, okay, that wouldn't intrude on radio. I could get, that was the decision. And I was talking to Austin P about getting classes going. I get this phone call one day from Dr. Osborne about 2 weeks later. We're wanting to bring an audio video program in at Greenbrier, and I understand you're wanting to teach. And I'm like, what? Who? What? Then I got a phone call from Mr. Gregory explaining the process of becoming CTE, and I'm like, boy, that sounds like a much better plan. And now knowing what is required of ELL teachers, I'm where I should be because I'm not sure. Because a lot of the times you hear like I want to teach that, and then you get to dig into it and you think, well, this would be a better fit for me. You know what I mean? And that's okay because I went to the job fair with one intention,
Right.
ELL, but then I was pointed in a different direction and found what a much better fit it was for me. So, be open to that. Yeah,
Sure.
it's fascinating, but go to the job fair. Just go to the job fair and you're just you'll fall in love. I love being a part of the education system here in Robertson County. It's such a blessing, such a family. That's what people don't realize. It is a family across the board. And I'm blessed to be a part of it. But what else have you got? I know I jumped the gun on you, got you disorganized.
Not at all.
We were talking about the buses and stuff, and it just seemed to, and they will be there. The bus department will be there.
They will be there
to talk to you about driving a bus because we need you, we need you, we need you.
Sure.
Yeah.
We talked attendance, and that's one of the metrics that we as a school system are held accountable for, and to ensure that our students are present and they're in school. And so last month, during the month of February, we did have some pockets of sickness, but the good thing and the positive thing is our attendance was up over 1% from both last month and the same time a year ago. So 94.5%.
Awesome.
That's really great. White House Heritage High School, again, is the high school with the highest attendance, 98+%, so 98.3, 98.4% in a high school. And so middle high too. So you put the middle school and the high school together. We congratulate them for that. And I think the school that probably has surprised me most with elementary attendance has been Cheatham Park.
Oh, that's great.
And so here in the city, we're proud of those students for getting out and coming to school. 95.6%
That's great.
attendance for the month of February. Now, we do realize that we were out of school quite a bit in February, but we're still required to maintain certain ratios and certain percentages of attendance. And so we look at that every month just to kind of see, what schools are consistently in one place or another. I think since we've been reviewing these numbers, Heritage has been at the top of the high school attendance for the majority of this year. But we're also looking, it's great to say that our attendance is 98%. But we also look at each individual student to see how much, they are coming to school. You've got a class of 20 kids, say, and you may have one student out every day, and your attendance rate's 95%. That's great, but you may have one student that has missed 10 or 12 days in class, and certainly we know that student's going to struggle in class because they're going to be behind, and if they're behind and missing your class, they're also missing 3 or 4 other classes, and so they're behind in all those classes. It's just hard to learn when you're not at school.
Yeah.
And so we kind of set a mark at 20 absences, which is a month of school. and we follow the state attendance policies. We follow the state attendance rules for submitting those names. We try to have conferences with those parents to talk about. A lot of them know their students aren't at school, but we do find surprises every now and then when a parent may not know that their student's been missing or skipping school and things like that. So we do that, but we now have 6 schools that have more than 20 students who have missed 20 days of school.
Mm-hmm.
6 schools that have more than 20 students that miss more than 20 days of school. So they missed more than a month of school, and we're just, over halfway, just slightly over halfway, and then I guess approaching 3/4 of the way. But we try to work with those families. We try to send social workers to talk to those families. We look for community supports of how can we help those families be in school. But there are almost 300 students in our entire system that have missed more than 20 days of school.
Just chronically are absent.
Yes.
Do you find sometimes that there are medical reasons, or is it typically just they're not there? And if there are, say you've got one that has a medical or emotional concerns and things like that, and they have doctors' excuses and those kinds of things, how does that relate? Because I've known a few students that they bring excuses, so they don't have any unexcused absences, but they are just never there.
Well, there are 2 pieces of that. And first, from an accountability standpoint, from the state holding that school accountable, and every school receives a letter grade, and that's part of that school's letter grade.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, the state doesn't recognize that. They just say when you miss 10% of the days that you've been in school, so in most cases that's 20 days for a student that's there all year. When they do that, the school takes a ding on that. So they're gonna be ticked for how many students that you have. So that we as a system are I don't want to say more tolerant of that, because we understand, and particularly that students have, as you said, letters from their doctors, and not just a note that says you went to a doctor appointment, but people who have what we might call chronic illnesses or things like that they do have an illness that requires them to go to the doctor on a regular basis and get some sort of treatment on a regular basis and those things. So we do have forms that doctors can fill out and parents can fill out and let us know about some of those chronic illnesses that they would have. Not just from an accountability standpoint again, but that helps the nurse at the school, and we are very fortunate. We talked about that last night at the board meeting, that we are fortunate that we have a nurse in every building that who is trained and skilled to be there and to help provide any medical needs that they might have, help administer medicine that's required to be done through the day. And so that helps the staff know how to deal with students like that, and particularly students that might have chronic GI problems or something like that. It helps us know bathroom privileges and things like that.
Right.
There are lots of those things, but students that do have those can pick up forms from the nurse's office, and then we can document those. And again, that helps us manage that locally. But in terms of accountability, the state still holds us accountable for those.
Okay, because I had thought that maybe with the doctor's notes, then that didn't ding the school, but unfortunately, that's unfortunate, because I know several that are in those positions. Let me just pause for a second. I want to do a break. We'll continue with Dr. Danny Weeks talking about all things school board related, and I have a lot of questions because I'm a teacher, and I still, even though I'm nearing the end of my 4th year, I still have I think I have more questions now because I know what questions to ask now. Where before I was just like a deer in the headlights kind of thing, but you learn quickly, you really do, and you learn the acronyms, and you learn to ask what an acronym means. You don't get embarrassed. I do want to mention something before Lee Marie doesn't want me to forget to mention that we do have Vietnam Vets Day coming up. And while it's on the 29th, we've always had a memorial at Springfield Gardens on the actual day of Vietnam Vets Day. That is on Sunday this week, but they're going to start doing this memorial the weekend closest to Vietnam Vets Day. And so they are doing this memorial this year on the 27th and 28th, which will be a Friday and a Saturday. And this is to commemorate this is to just to remember all of our Vietnam vets because of what they went through when they returned home. I talk a lot about Vietnam. I grew up in that era, lost a dear friend, our hired hand. We lost him in Vietnam. And it was my first vivid childhood memory. So Vietnam vets are very special to me. I try to always be there. I'm going to be able to be there this time on Friday evening and on Saturday. And so I hope you'll join us. And we need kiddos to come out and help us because that memorial that we have there for those who were affected by Agent Orange, they returned home injured. Those names that are on that memorial, we do a candlelight visual on Friday, and then we do another event on Saturday, but we separated them because there's so many names on there now, it just became like a day-long event. And so by separating it out, that helps break it up a bit. But we like for the high school kids to come out and read those names off the memorial. So we need to know who you are and who wants to do it. And this is a really sweet way for you to get some of your service hours in for Tennessee Promise. And there's all these clubs. There's so many. I know Honor Society, Beta Club, they all have requirement for service hours. So this would be an opportunity for you to get some of that time in and be a part of that. Now, if you're at Greenbrier High School, you can come talk to me. If you're in one of the other schools, reach out to Lee Marie. You can email her at retroleemarie@gmail.com, retroleemarie@gmail.com. Just reach out to any of us, and we'll put you on the list. But we need you. And again, you're going to get some service hours, real special way to do it, and to really, for these kids, they don't know anything about Vietnam, just like I didn't know anything about Pearl Harbor when I was a kid. I had to, learn about it through history. And so those of us who remember, this is a chance for us to make sure they don't forget of the sacrifices made and that are continuing to be made by our Vietnam veterans that we're losing very, very quickly because of the effects of Agent Orange. I tell you what, we'll go ahead and get back to the school board meeting. Then I'll do it took me so long to say that. We'll do the ad for Barry and Rebecca here in just a minute. So let's get back to the agenda from the school board meeting last night with Dr. Danny Weeks continuing on. You said you had a short meeting, but it's 20 till, and we're going to be out of time before you know it.
Well, and the last four items are they're important to us as business, but they're not very exciting. We approved our filter contract, and you can imagine with 24 buildings, I think we have 2.2 million square feet.
Oh, wow.
Of building space that needs to be taken care of. We have a contractor that takes care of ordering all of our air conditioning filters and installing all those air conditioning filters, coming around and changing those on a regular basis. So we approved that contract last night. In that 2.2 million square feet, we also occasionally have some bugs creep through and things like that. So
heard a kid yesterday, there's a bag. I'm like, oh, country girl.
We approved our contract for renewed our pest control contract, and so they take care of particularly the kitchens. That's like any other food service operation, but they take care of the schools as well and the school properties there. And then lastly, I hate to say it's almost mowing time. It's especially if the weather stays pretty and warm. But we improved our contracts for mowing and maintaining our landscaping at our campuses last night. And it's always I always enjoy working with vendors who are doing a good job for us, and that we can just simply renew that contract rather than having to go through retraining and bringing somebody in and showing them what we need to do. And in all these cases, somebody said, well, it sounds like an easy job to change air conditioning filters. Well, it is in our homes most of the time.
Where everything is located.
You know where they are, but in our schools, believe it or not, when they build schools, they every size, every filter, some are in closets, some are in the ceilings, some are just everywhere that they have to do that. So that group, they know where our filters are, they know what size they are, they have them shipped to the school, they come in at night when students aren't there, and pop the old ones out, put the new ones in, and again they do that regularly so that our air conditioners and heaters remain in good shape. So stuff like that, and stuff like even mowing our campuses, knowing where the boundaries of the campuses are, up around the buildings, knowing what needs to be weed eated, what needs to be trimmed, knowing how far to go out in the fields and different things like that. So these are all vendors that have been doing those jobs for at least 2 to 3 years, some of them many years. And so it's good to have those vendors back with us, and Again, that's, they're very specific about their contract and when they work and the terms of that and how they're managed. But those are some of the things that we wrapped up with last night.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, so really, that's about it, huh?
Well, it was, and we did a lot of talking about just just some of the same. We always give a director's report and talk about where we are in terms of benchmark testing, in terms of things that are going on this time of year as we get ready to head into the final break. But we spent our last, I guess, 5 to 10 minutes talking about an event that's special to the school system tomorrow. It's called the State of the Schools. And so there are a couple of times throughout the year that we meet with other groups and we talk about what's going on in schools. And the Chamber of Commerce, I believe in October, November, asked us to come meet with Mayor Vogel and at one of the chamber luncheons. And so we have about an hour. The mayor talks about things that are going on countywide from county government perspective. And then we have about 20 minutes to talk about what's going on in the school system. We do the same thing for the City of White House. They have a chamber event, and that's usually in late August or early September, where we talk about the director of schools from Sumner County, because White House, part of that is in Sumner County. So he and I both share about an hour to talk about our school system. But this Wednesday, March 11th, tomorrow, we have an entire event morning dedicated to what we call the State of the Schools. And so we have some groups coming in and doing some musical performances. We've got a couple of videos that talk about the things we're doing in schools. One on focusing on elementary schools, the other one focusing on high schools. We're going to have our Mass Honor Choir is going to come sing. So that's some students from every one of our high schools is going to be a participant in that. And then we're going to talk about we've talked a lot about accountability, kind of touched on accountability, but we'll talk tomorrow about that. And then we have two guest speakers coming in that are recent graduates. One is in college now, and so he's going to talk about what did Robertson County Schools do for me to help me be prepared for where I am. And then another one we've always had the last couple of years we've done this. We've had a graduate who has come back to teach for us. And
there's a bunch of those too.
Are.
I'm stunned, that speaks so beautifully of the county.
And so the young lady that's going to teach or speak tomorrow, she's even, I guess, more of an anomaly perhaps, because she went through our Grow Your Own program.
Oh, cool.
So she had the opportunity not only to go straight into college from I think she's a Springfield High grad in 2020, I believe, and went straight
Very
in.
Cool.
She went in on an agreement between Austin Peay and Vol State that said, they will take care of paying for her education if she'll come back and teach.
That's a great deal,
great
guys. Oh my goodness.
So we'll have that program. It's at 8:30 at Springfield High School in the theater. There'll be a quick breakfast or so, some continental breakfast items. About around 8:30, we'll start the program at 9 and do our very best to be out by 10. And then we will share this annual report with everyone. And so the annual report talks about just highlights what's going on in some departments, highlights some things that are important to us at the system level, and just pulls out some of our students that are doing an exceptional job. So that's a program. And again, we always enjoy speaking to the chambers of commerce. We enjoy sharing the stage with mayors and the other directors of schools. But this day is solely devoted to Robertson County Schools. So the good time. Our staff will be there. Actually, central office. If anyone needs central office attention tomorrow, we actually close central office first thing in the morning. Everyone will be over at Springfield High, and central office will be back open around 10:30 after that program. So because everybody has a part in this. It's kind of like a shareholders meeting or a stakeholders meeting.
Very cool. Well, and I knew that I've got kiddos. We're getting ready for our talent show. We're going to have a spring talent show on March 30th. You should come because we got some amazingly talented kids. But we are, I'm sorry, I got to check my voicemail. No, okay, we don't have anything yet. My grandbaby girl's on the way, so I've been watching my phone super close. But I have 4 sons, though, and they're all being silly on text right now. So anyway, but what was I saying? we're getting ready for talent show, and so we had a kind of a tech rehearsal tonight, and I've had so many go honor choir, honor choir, honor choir.
Mm-hmm.
They're involved with honor choir this
Right.
evening, so I didn't realize they were singing tomorrow morning.
They are. Yeah.
Okay, so I need to question them on that because I'm going to have some missing kiddos tomorrow too going out for honor choir.
Yes.
Very good. I tell you what, let me do my ad for Barry and Rebecca, and then we come back. Can you address just a couple of lingering questions? People are asking, did we get the waiver for the missing days from the state? What about our damage assessment? Any update on the cooling tower and all of that? Anything kind of that, we're still seeing the effects of the ice and all that we dealt with. So let's spend the rest of our time just, kind of wrapping that up if you don't mind. And then we'll remind everybody again about the Vietnam volunteer thing before we finish. But right now, I want to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, my longest running full-time sponsor, guys. Love these guys. They have been with me from the very, very get-go. And that we appreciate all that they do to bring you one street over. And they do so much for the real estate community. No matter whether you're buying, whether you're selling, or you want to be a realtor, Barry and Rebecca would love to help you. They are part of Exit Prime Realty. They have always been with the Exit team. When Rebecca first started, she came out once her kids went to school. She wanted to get back out in the work community. She had been in radiology, but was interested in real estate. I say that, and I'll remind you of that, just to say, your interest can change. Hers did, and she said, okay, I need to make sure I'm with a company that has everything I need. And she did a lot of research, and she went with Exit. They're still with them, and that's a testimony. She's been at this a long time. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. They do what they do very, very well, guys. And they were with the Garden Gate team for many years from Exit, and then they started their own new branch in the tree, Exit Prime Realty. Barry has a brokerage office here in Springfield. Rebecca's agency office up in White House combined to bring you that new Exit Prime Realty. She has a broker she works with up in White House that can still broker deals in Kentucky. If you're interested in buying up in Kentucky, working in Tennessee, you got to understand the nuances of that, and you need a specific broker for that because of changes in laws up in Kentucky. They can help you with that. They're going to make sure that you don't try to go for a more home than what you can afford to buy. They're going to make sure you're pre-qualified. If you're pricing your home, they're going to do a free market analysis on it to make sure that you're asking the right price, because you get a buyer that wants to buy it, but if they can't get a loan to support it because it's, you've asked more than what the market analysis is showing, you're not going to go very far. They can answer all the questions. Barry, of course, is the marketer of the bunch, and he's going to make sure your property for sale is seen in the absolute perfect light with photography, videography, drone footage, walkthrough tours, you name it, they can do it. Barry and Rebecca Richards, they're with Exit Prime Realty. You can reach out to them. You can Google them, or you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. You can always just give them a phone call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425 or 7424. Always please let them know U-Turn sent you. And we've got Dr. Danny Weeks, our director of schools here in Robertson County, in the house, and covered a lot of stuff. So you want to go back and listen to the show. We covered all the stuff happened at the school board meeting last night. But a question on our minds, and a lot of the kids is like, Miss Vivio, what's going to happen with our days off? What if we have a tornado day and we need to stay home? I'm like, well, we're supposed to. We filed for a waiver. What's the update on that?
Well, the exciting news, it is twofold news.
Okay.
We were waived having to make up 5 of those days, so there is no need to make up. I guess it would have been technically the last 5 days that we were out of school. I think it was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of February, something like that. So those 5 days have been waived. But it also gives us that reset to answer that question. What if there's a bad storm tomorrow? What if it snows again?
It
could.
Have you seen the temps for next week for our spring break?
Exactly. So
it's gonna be cold.
We have the ability now not to have to make up those days. So it's almost a reset of 5 days that puts those days back into our bank that we can use if we need to do that. So it's without having to make those up, but giving us another 5 days should we have to do something unusual.
Very good. Yeah. So if something happens with the spring, we hope it doesn't. I mean, we've got so much to do. We don't need to be out anymore. And but the temps, I mean, I was looking at those temps for next week.
You never know.
You never know. And we've got an awful lot of moisture pushing through. Bill Jones was talking about that yesterday, about how much moisture to expect over the next couple of weeks. And those temps, I tell the story. My brother was born on the first day of spring 5 years after me. So in 67, 68, I forget. But nonetheless, he was born, and I guess 68. But he was born on the 20th of March, and they had to plow the roads to bring him home. And I grew up in Mayfield. This is from he was born in a Mayfield hospital. So they had to plow the roads to bring him home. It happens. Now, it didn't last long. I'm sure it didn't stick around long, but I was a child, so I don't really remember those specifics, but it happens. It happens a lot.
I mean, that would disrupt bus traffic. That would disrupt, anything.
Yep.
Just even a
It can
good hard
happen.
snow, it could do that.
You
Or,
bet.
the spring storms that, we sometimes experience. So it is good news for us. And
Very
we're thankful to Christy Ballard and her staff at the State Department that take care of those things for us. And
Very good.
yeah, we're excited about that.
We're excited about that thing because I had checked on it and then forgot to check on it until I saw you today. So what about the damage assessments? Because we had talked a lot about the cooling tower at White House Heritage. What's the update on that?
Actually, they're meeting with EMA this afternoon, Emergency Management Association, the Emergency Management Assistance Program here in Springfield. They help manage gathering damaged data and damaged property from all around the county. So I think this afternoon there's a group of our folks that are going to be meeting with them, bringing all the numbers in, turning all that in, and hoping that we receive some federal reimbursements on that. We've also turned that into our insurance, and so really it's going to be a matter of who can respond most quickly
A
to
little
help
bit
us.
closer on that microphone.
To help us see who can respond most quickly with that, whether it's insurance and then hopefully that reimbursement will come back from the government to help us take care of that. But that was the biggest damage we had was at White House Heritage. We did have some canopy and roof damage in some places, and I think they call them ice dams, where the
I
ice
had one of those in
freezes
my room.
the gutter.
Yeah.
And pushes the gutter away from the building a little bit, and sometimes that water, when it starts thawing, gets down in the buildings and coming through the roofs. So
I had a little bit of
quite a
damage
bit of
in my
that.
room.
Yeah.
So, are they going to have? So, are they going to have air conditioning then at White House Heritage, or
we signed a contract yesterday for some portable air conditioners.
Okay.
And so when we say that, it's a massive unit that hooks into the system and blows air through the system.
Okay, so they won't be. And I mean, it's going to be in the 40s next week, y'all, for
Right.
spring break. For those of you going to Florida, good job, because you're gonna be wanting to go to the warmer weather next week because it's not going to be warm around here. But anything else that we need to cover before we leave? It looks like you're about to go read somewhere.
I just picked up a book just to bring in as a reminder for me personally, but also. This week is often known as Read Across America or Reading in Our Schools, and just an opportunity, to remind parents. Language acquisition comes best through hearing. Before students learn to read, by being read to, and not talked to, and not in front of the television, but being read to by moms and dads. So we encourage everybody to read 20 minutes a day while their children are young, and so doing that. But also in our schools, the last week and this week. Opportunities just to go in and read to student groups. And so I would say every one of our elementary schools has that need for somebody to come in and read. Some of our students need to hear that reading that maybe they missed while they were at home, while they were young. So our younger students have reading pals and reading buddies that sometimes come in and read. But I'm going to be spending my morning over at Chrysler Elementary reading to some 4th and 5th graders, I believe.
Awesome.
And just have a couple of books that I want to share with them. And, if somebody just wants to volunteer, call the office and check with schools and, how they can help out and doing things like that.
Very cool. Very cool. And I just, I'm very blessed that all my my kiddos and their brides read to the kiddos. Now, I do have one daughter-in-law that's a librarian, so,
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. That child, my grandson Walt had a library card before he could walk. So it's really sweet. But they all just read, and that's something too. We have our book bus that's just so cool, and getting books in the hands of kiddos that maybe are not getting them, and just reminding them of the importance of reading. And I explained to my my students, different ones, we're talking about the book bus because we did a musical thing on the book bus too that we've been working on, and so they were like, "What?" And I kind of equated it to a bookmobile, and they're like, "What's a bookmobile?" Because we had that when I was a kid. And so anything we can do to get our kids reading is a good thing.
Right.
Speaking of reading, why don't you come read some names at the Vietnam Memorial? So we'll just remind them again. Now we're asking that you reach out to Lee Marie and sign up. Now you may have some contacts within the school at Greenbrier. You can reach out to me, and I'll be glad to sign you up. I know it may be a teacher just says, "Hey."
All of our schools are partnering with them. So again, just call the school. Principals, and you may not get the principal. Ask for the secretary, and to have your put on that list.
Absolutely. And Greenbrier folks, come see me, and I'll put you down. I'll put your name in with Lee Marie, and I'll be there. I promise you, it's not scary. You just have to. You get a list of names. We will help you with the pronunciation. That's the hardest thing is some of the pronunciations. There was a few because they used to have us adults read them, and that's the only thing. But trust me, we didn't pronounce them right either. Just do the best you can. You'll do fine. Just be respectful. And that's on Friday night or Friday evening about 5:00. On the 27th of March. We'd love to have you kiddos come and read names off of the memorial that they have up here at Springfield Gardens in honor of our Vietnam vets. And these are not the ones necessarily, now a lot of them on the memorial have passed, but they came home from Vietnam. I've many times gone and etched the name of my friend that died, Kenneth Pease. I've got many etchings of his name off the wall. And, I talk a lot about him and talk a lot about my friend Donna Hagen's brother, Terry Smith, that died in Vietnam. So they have that wall. But there were so many that came home injured and were injured by the way they were treated when they returned home. And boy, do they deserve an opportunity to be honored. So come and be a part of that. Students, talk to your principal, Greenbrier. You can come talk to me, and you can reach out to retroleemarie@gmail.com, retroleemarie@gmail.com, and send her an email, and she'll put you down on the list. And I think that's got it. Dr. Weeks, you got anything else for us?
We do wish everybody a happy spring break next week.
Yes.
But also, have a great time. But, if you're behind on classes, you're behind on some homework or some reading or something like that, it's a great time to catch up. Full 7, 8, 9 days to get caught up would do a lot for some folks' grades.
Absolutely. As teachers will be catching up on some things too, because I get busy with all this extra stuff, and I'm like, I need to, so yeah, as teachers do it too. I actually promised a student something. I said something about putting into the curriculum. He was like, and he was the only one. He goes, I think I'd be real interested, Miss Viv. And I said, okay, just for you, Nathan, because he's one of my seniors. We're gonna look at that, and so I've got a little bit of curriculum to work on, and add to my program. So that was a challenge for me. I'll be doing over spring break.
And just so folks know, I know some of our office will be a little shorthanded. We're going to be our staff can take vacation days. We don't get spring break and things like that, but our offices will be open every day, and so if people need someone at the district office, they're welcome to give us a call, 384-5588.
Do the number one more time, and that'll be our out.
615-384-5588.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Danny Weeks, joining us today, our director of schools. Go back and listen to the show. A lot of good information in there. And tomorrow, we're going to have some students from IA going to be joining us. My friend from over at I'm trying to think of how to say this here because I can't remember the time. Sarah is coming over from the Economic Development Board, and she is bringing Miss Tolliday and a couple of her students from IA for some things that they're doing that are tying to helping to develop things in the community. And that's going to be super interesting. So we're going to have some IA students in here tomorrow, along with Miss Sarah from the Economic Development Board. So I hope you'll join us. Normally it would have been staypositive.news, but they're on spring break up in Sumner, and so they're out tomorrow. And so Sarah said she would fill in, and we're looking forward to that right here. I hope you'll be a part of it on 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a great day.